happy Tuesday. Another gorgeous spring-like day on tap here. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but it does look like the spring weather is pretty much here to stay.
If you have a green thumb, you might be itching to get to work in the garden. But what should you be doing now? What things should you avoid? Garden Guide Dale Kay is outside the station for us with a few pointers. Good morning, Dale.
Good morning. Definitely spring-like weather today, but looking ahead in the forecast, it gets quite chilly again, so it can be quite confusing what you should, and most importantly, what you should not be doing right now. And there's a lot of chitter-chatter out there about all sorts of things, particularly when it comes to lawns. So we'll start there first. And whether to reseed or whether to rake, there's a little bit of bare ground here. I've heard people saying, yeah, it's great to reseed right now. And in all honesty, I would actually just wait just a wee little bit. Firstly, well, the first reason, ground moisture. It would be nice if we had a little bit of rain before you start seeding. And although, yes, you could put seed down on the ground, oftentimes, if it lays in wait too long, birds will eat it. It might even wash away. With the cooler temperatures coming up later this or into next week, seed will not germinate. So I would actually wait a little bit on grass seed. It's definitely okay to go out and buy some grass seed, but I would actually wait till about mid-April, about the usual time that you would start to reseed. Best tips there. As far as raking goes, you could rake up any debris in your lawn. I think all the moisture is out, so any raking, I think that is just fine to do. And a nice little leaf rake like this, or a nice little tine rake like this, is really good for working some of that dead grass or some of that thatch out of the lawn at this time. So next, of course, it becomes the question of pruning. Is it okay to prune right now? Well, yes, there are some things that you could definitely go ahead and prune. I have some examples that you can take a peek at. All the ornamental grasses, they could definitely get pruned back at this time. Any perennials that you left up for winter interest, there's sedums, there's coneflowers, all those wonderful perennials that you left up, you can go ahead and prune those back now. And then, of course, the other one that you can prune now is hydrangeas. What you don't want to prune is all those early spring flowering plants like forsythia, rhododendrons, anything that blooms early. Lilacs, that would be another one that you don't want to prune now, but anything that you left up for winter interest is fine. And then this type of pruning, or a head shear, is kind of my go-to for all those perennials that you left up over winter. This is a great tool that you can go ahead and use. And don't forget, make sure you compost all that good stuff too. Also, don't kind of rake around in the garden beds too much. There's a lot of native pollinators that harbor up in mulch and things like that over the winter months. So I don't really kind of do any kind of cultivating at this time, because you want all those pollinators to come out of hibernation and do all those great wonderful things for our gardens. Talking about just the garden beds themselves, I think you're good to go on some adding mulch. March is a great time to add mulch existing to your garden. 2 to 3 inches is really, really beneficial, keeps moisture into the soil. And of course, a little bit of fresh mulch is like having fresh sheets on your bed. It looks great, feels great, and plants will definitely love you back once you add some mulch to your garden. So what can you plant? What should you be planting? People are looking for pansies. Folks are looking for hanging baskets, all this kind of crazy kind of spring-like stuff, even though, remember, it's going to get a little bit chilly next week. So, but I think you're actually okay with planting some bulbs. And if you've got all those winter branches in your pots, the spruce tips, all that stuff, I think it's time, guys. I think it's time to get rid of all those brown spruce tips out of your planters. And bulbs like this, particularly if you buy them, I've just put some flowers here, a little bit more advanced, but if you buy them like this, I think they're really, really good at moderating themselves in temperature. So the spruce tips come out, you can put some pussy willow into your pots and then plant some bulbs around there. You could even add some artificial moss like that. That'll add a nice touch of green. And that way, at least your front planters will look a wee little bit fresher and a wee little bit nicer. But definitely time to get rid of all those winter boughs, those brown things. It's time. Back to you guys.
Okay, and we want to clean it up. I've got a lot of that in the yard right now.
Me too.
Brown stuff.
Yep. All right, thank you, Dale.